Happy scrapper, happy scrapper, happy scrapper, whoa. Get ready to watch a happy scrapper video. Happy scrapper, yeah, yeah, here we go.
In this video we're going to talk about compressors. You find these in central air and heat units, refrigerators, freezers. For instance, this little round one came out of a industrial refrigerator like you'd see in a restaurant. This tall one came out of an outside unit from a central air and heat unit. And the most common is this little fella here, and he came out of a window air conditioner. And what we're going to talk about in this video, is it easier or better price-wise to take them whole to the yard and get a compressor rate for them, or is it worth it to break them down and get the copper and then take the rest as shreds? So let's tear into these and see what we've got. We've moved outside for a safer environment, and I'll give you a little bit of an idea of how to do these. Most of the other stuff I don't show breaking down because it's basically just a matter of taking some bolts loose. With these compressors, every one of them you'll see a weld line somewhere on the compressor. It's usually on the halfway mark. The taller ones that are outside, if the outside AC units may be closer to the top. And basically you want to take your grinder and just cut around the top of that weld line, and then the top of your compressor will just come off there. And then you'll see the coil on the inside with the copper, that what we're after. And to be able to take it out, you've got this pipe that sits similar to that across the top, and that keeps that in there, and you'll just cut each side with your grinder again, and then you can just lift this piece out. Well, when you got two hands, you can just lift it out. Well, anyway, you can lift it out. There's going to be some oil in the bottom of the compressor. You can drill a hole in the bottom of the compressor and let that oil drain out into a container. You'll want to keep that oil. For one, it's bad for the environment just to let it dump out on the ground, and two, it's pretty good quality oil. I mean, you wouldn't want to use it in the engine or anything, but to lubricate your tools or something else like that, it's very good oil for that. So I'll put the camera down so I can get both my grubby little hands on this copper wrap coil, and we'll test it to make sure it's copper before I keep calling it copper, and then we'll go from there. Finishing up here, once we got on the inside, this mechanism will separate from the copper coil there with just those 4 little bolts. And they're real easy to get out. Keep in mind this thing's been sitting in oil for since it was manufactured. And you separate that, and basically I've showed you before on copper bearing motors, just take your grinder or your sawzall or even a hacksaw and just go right down that line, and you'll take part of the copper coil off, and on the other side you just simply turn it upside down and pull the copper out of it. These other, try to get this where the light won't blind you from outside, these other compressors are going to tear apart basically the same way, with render similar results as far as copper goes. But keep in mind, you're going to go through a grinding blade about every 4 compressors that you do, because you can see how thick the wall is on that. So with this, there's the shred that we'll be moving with. There's just a teeny tiny bit of yellow brass that's from the valve that was put in to relieve the gas. And then you have about 3 pounds of number 2 copper. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth breaking these compressors down. Very minimal work to do that. You do need a grinder and a hacksaw or a sawzall, but I've seen both of these. Now this is DeWalt, and that's one of the most expensive ones, and that's Porter cable. But you can pick these up at Northern Tool. I know I seen a grinder the other day at Northern Tool for 16 bucks. Grinding blades are about $2.50. I really think it's worth it to invest in those tools and be able to get your most money out of these compressors. Again, thanks for watching and happy scrapping.